My dear student, welcome to my online class. Farewell by the grace of Almighty. Today I am going to discuss about the chapter 4, Agriculture and Climate. Lesson 2, Crops of Rabi Season. Rabi crop. If any crops spend the entire or the most of the Rabi season for their physical growth, blossom, and fructification, they are known as the Rabi crops. If any crops lasted the whole duration of the Rabi season for their physical growth. Physical means the bodily, and growth means the process of increasing in size. And blossom means the state or period of flowering. And fructification, that means the process of fructifying. What do you mean by the fructifying? Means and make something fruitful or productive. That means any crops which long lasted for whole Rabi season for their physical growth, blossom and fructification, they are known as Rabi crops. They are also called the winter crops because and especially the crops sow in the winter and weaken reap in the time of winter. So that is called also the winter crops. If you want to learn about the characteristic of the Rabi crops, we should know about the aspect of the Rabi season. But if you want to know about the feature or traits of these Rabi crops, we should know about the characteristics of the Rabi season. Aspects means characteristics. The aspect of the Rabi season are: what is the characteristic of the Rabi season? 1. Low temperature. There is no hot temperature in the season, and insufficient rainfall. Especially in the winter season, there is no rainfall. Low humidity. Humidity means the moisture in atmosphere. Less possibility of storms. In the winter season, there is no possibility of any winter storms or rain. Less fear of hailstorm. Hailstorm means storms of heavy hail, thunderstorms. Less threat of flood. That means in the winter seasons, there is no chance of rain. That is why there is no threat of flood. And 7. Fewer hazard of disease and pests. There is fewer means, and less hazard means less danger of diseases and pests. Especially pests means a destructive insect or other animal that attack the crops and float and livestock and etc. Needs irrigation because in the winter season there is no rainfall, and that is why we'll have to give irrigation to our crops. A long night than that of the day. At the time, the day is short, but night is longer. From the characteristic of the Rabi season, we can understand what type of crops grow in the season. The crops that need low temperature are cultivated during the Rabi season, and at the times we can cultivate the low temperature crops. Horticultural crops are like potatoes, cauliflower, cabbage, carrot, grout, bean, nolkal, old coffee or broccoli, turnip, spinach, onions, garlic and etc. are cultivated in the season. Field crops, and thus the crops and which are sowing in the field are cultivated at that time, including the Bodo rice, wheat, mustard, linseed, lentil, chickpea, black plum, Kishari, etc. and date juice is collected during the season. Lesson 3. Crops of Kharif season. If any crops spend the whole or most of the Kharif season for their physical growth, blossom and fructification, that means any crops which is long lasted for whole Kharif season for their physical growth, for physical process of growing of size, and blossom, the process of flowering, and fructification, that means make something fruitful or productive, they are known as the Kharif season. That means the crops which is long lasting the whole Kharif seasons for their physical growth and blossom and fructification, they are known as the Kharif crops. So if you wanted to learn about the characteristic of the Kharif crops, and we should know about the aspect of the Kharif season. Similarly, if you want to know the characteristics, then we'll have to know about some key features of the season. The aspect of the Kharif season are high temperature, that means temperature is more than 30 degrees Celsius. It is very hot and humid temperature. Heavy rainfall. In this See, in the season we will see the rainfall is a very heavy, high relative humidity. That means humidity is higher than winter seasons. In the moisture in the air is very heavy. More possibility of storms in this season. We will see the monsoon storms is flowing from the northwest side, and more fear of hailstorms. That means there is a chance of more thunderstorms and more threat of flood, because infrequently we will see the rain in the seasons, and that is why we face the more threat of the flood. More hazards from the disease and effects. That means the more dangerous for diseases and effects. And irrigation almost not needed. That means we will see the frequently there is rain, and that is why we need to almost irrigation. Day length is longer or equal to the night time. That means most probably in day and night is more equal. The crops and that require the high temperature are cultivated in Kharif season. We will see in the Kharif season we cultivate the more high temperature crops, and this season is divided into two phases. One is Kharif 1, and in a Kharif 1 it rains and moderately in the season, and showers start at the end of the season. Moderately means within a reasonable limit. That means in this Kharif 1 rains with a reasonable limit, and also start the rain shower at the end of the season. Threat of nor'wester hailstorm. Nor'wester means a winter storm blowing from the northwest. The dust or hailstorm means thunderstorm is higher in the season. That means a winter storm blowing from the northwest and thunderstorm is higher in the season. Many parts of the country are seen to be vulnerable to sudden river swelling, sudden flood, and high temperature and moderate humidity are experienced in the season. And high temperature, hot temperature, and moderate humidity, and with a decent humidity, moisture in the air are experienced in the season. And disease and insect attract the crops in the medium scale. We will see disease and also the insect attack the crops in the medium range, and moderate irrigation is needed for growing crops. And suddenly we'll see the 10 or 15 days there is no rain at that time, so we need irrigation. And sheep crops is the reason are zote and sesame. But dunter date, taro, moki, kochu, okra, sisinga are rift grout, and jinga and bitter grout, Kerala, and pointed gourd and patal and pumpkin, etc., and mango, blackberries, and jackfruit, papaya, watermelon, melon, all these fruits mellow during this time. So we will see these types of hot temperature crops we will see in this Kharif 1 season. And Kharif 2, it rains heavily in this season. That means the times the rains we will see the heavily, and there is a less threat of just an hailstorm, but there is no chance of thunderstorms or hailstorms, but flood is quite alarming in these times. At the times when rain is very heavy, excessive heat prevails, and air contain humidity profusely in the season. We will see in the season there is excessive heat and hot temperature, and what contains the most moisture very high, and disease and insects and attack the crops in large amount. And at times the disease and insect attack the crops in very highly. Manufactured irrigation is not required. That means we will not do the manual irrigation that must for growing the crops. And sheep crops in the season are almond rice, aquatic sprout, panikochu, and ash grout. That means chalkumbra, okra, dharosh, snake grout, sisinga, rift grout, zinga, and sponge grout at dondol, etc. And farm amloki. We will say the gooseberry or Myro blanc, pineapple, golden apple, ambra, guava, and late maturing mangoes, and jackfruit and pomelo, jambur, and these male fruits during the season. In the Kharif 2 we will see this type of hot temperature crops. Look at the homework, and we'll have to do the creative questions and write down in your copies and submit it through the Google Classroom. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.